get them stuff. Don't saying like, oh, you don't need another rubber. You don't need, and sometimes, you know,
What?
like a ruler or rubber.
Oh, we're certainly
don't know why I
going,
said
we're certainly
strike.
going into the gutter here with that one, aren't we?
Pen, pencil,
Okay.
anything. But no, why you do that to me all the time?
I'm not doing anything. Gentlemen, welcome back to another video. My name is Stryker.
My name is Luba.
Now, one thing I'm going to ask you guys is, are you a generous man? Because if you want to date a woman from Ukraine, in their eyes, you need to be a generous man. But what does it actually mean? And does it translate to what we think generous means? I'm going to pass this over to Luba, who is Ukrainian.
Who was?
Who is?
I thought, who was Ukrainian? I'm still.
Yeah, she's a Spaniard.
A Spaniard. Yes. You know, even I work with the Western people for many years, and I think that my English is like relatively okay. Actually, I don't think so, but anyway, so I try. But sometimes I understand that even by speaking with Stryker, I explain to him something, and later on I understand that what he thought about this word is completely different from what I mean. So generous is one of these words. And this video is inspired by our current client that messaged me and said, I introduced him to a lady. I introduced a lady to him, and I was talking with him on Zoom call, and I talk about this lady. And then he said, like, I look deeper, look at your profile, and here is what he writing. He said, however, so I reviewing her profile yesterday, and there is a lot I like about her. However, she states that she is looking for a generous man. If I was reading this on the American profile, it would translate to me as looking for a bit of transaction relationship, similar to a sugar daddy. Do you think this is a fair assessment? I want to ask because maybe it's a cultural misunderstanding. And later he said, the thing is that I'm a generous person, but as we talked about, I'm looking for something deeper than a transaction relationship. Of course, makes sense. She might be a great fit for me, and I don't want to pass on her due to misunderstanding. What are your thoughts on this? So I think that this is important to discuss, not just with him, but with you guys as well. So there is really not enough words in Russian, there's word that translating like kind, good, not cheap, not greedy, or greedy, cheap, but still they're like slight different that make a significant difference when you're looking for a partner, right? And so in this profile, like when the lady is putting like the generous, it's something between the guy who is kind, but also not greedy. But how to explain that?
Well, yeah, so the way that I explain it to guys that have asked me about it is that she's looking for a man who is a good provider, who can take care of her and any family that you guys may have together, and that you're not going to be cheap and stingy, because it's kind of a little bit of a problem in Ukraine, right? Where a lot of guys, they either, you know, the income is not so great on whatever standard you want to, what benchmark you want to put there, but they can spend money on things that may not be as important. So they're looking for a man who's going to take care of them, right? And it's in a way that's not stingy. It's not the bare necessities. It's not like a can of beans for dinner. You know, it's a good life. She's looking for a man that's going to provide a good life for her.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean it's a transaction relationship when she's looking for a wealthy man. This is not. The generous, it's like, it's for me, and when I read in these profiles, what I see, it's more like the man who is generous in his action. So when, and of course, everybody acting by their money opportunities, right? But in this case, it's like in Ukraine, sometimes the lady is scared to ask, for example, she has like 2-3 children, and I have an example like that, like of my friend. They have 3 children. She's not working. The kids are small, and she's scared to ask him for some things that, like, she really wanted to have a chair. She wanted to have a chair to be able to
Chair's
like,
important.
Chairs are important, but she wanted like a little bit like better chair than just like one that you like sit and it's like very hard, and like she wanted a nice like how to say, like not a sofa but like nicer,
a throne.
Yes, throne she wanted. Yes, exactly. And so she, like when she was explaining to me how she need to ask for this chair, like that she need to, like she was doing some marathon and she write down like how to ask to make sure that your man will not say no. For me it's like, for me it's shocking, like for me it's ridiculous, but she's depending on him. And like this is what ladies don't want. They don't want to be scared of asking her man to buy her, as stryker say, something a little bit higher than a can of beans for the dinner. And sometimes in Ukraine we see that, and a lot of ladies, they want to make sure that, you know, they're dating a guy from the West and they don't know the mentality, they don't know the difference. Of course it's nice to think that everybody's like super rich and stuff, but they don't think so. Like they don't think that in America everybody's like they will only marry a millionaire. No, the thing that they want is that they want guy to be able to provide good life and be kind to children, like get them stuff, don't saying like, oh, you don't need another rubber, you don't need, and sometimes, you know,
What?
like ruler or rubber.
Oh, we're certainly
Don't know why I said
going
strike.
into the gutter here with that one, aren't we?
Pen, pencil,
Okay.
anything. But no, why you do that to me all the time?
I'm not doing anything.
So like, and it's not because he doesn't have money. In Ukraine, a lot of guys, they don't want to buy it because they think like, why would I get it? Why do I want it? And it's very uncomfortable. It's very unpleasant feeling to have a man like this.
Yep.
So this is what it means. Generous, it doesn't mean that you're gonna buy your iPhones every week. You know, it doesn't mean that you will throw like gold and everything and buy your Gucci bracelets or watch like every time. No, but it means that you are willing to do good for you, and your family together.
I think the word here, I get that in the West, we all know what that word means. We're on some dating site or there's some hookup site or something, and a woman is looking for a man that is generous. Well, it sort of sounds a bit prostitute-y, right? It sounds like this. The word generous here is an encompassing word, and it can mean, and underneath, it's an umbrella term. Underneath that term there is competency that's going to come from that the man is competent in his actions, and that you could use the word generous, I guess, in a way that he's generous about what he can give, not necessarily in money. So leadership qualities, right? He's a well-provisioning man. He's got his shit together, right? He can take care of her and he can take care of the family. He's basically a competent man that can solve problems for her. And some of that may be financial problems that you may come into in the future, or she has when she's run out of rubbers. There's
for kids.
Hang on, wait there. This conversation's gone. I'm gonna just change the colour of the sign. Yeah. How's that?
Why did you do that?
The sign. Well, the conversation went a bit sort of saucy, so I made it into a pink sign.
You're obsessed with this sign.
So yeah, so that's basically that's how you have to view that. So not generous in terms. Please, I'm being very serious here. That's not generous in terms. No, that's not generous in terms of giving money. In the West, it definitely means that 100%. It means that if a woman is looking for a generous man, in many countries, I've seen that on Tinder before, looking for a generous man, and she's all glizzy glazed up and stuff.
I have a solution for that. You need to change the color first. But it matched my sweater, by the way. Keep it.
We're going back to...
the normal.
Where is it there?
So the solution for that is that you should have a matchmaker. And it's not the time like promoting our service, but basically when you see that, first of all, as our client said, like he said, probably like if I see her, maybe if you see on Tinder or anywhere, he will just swipe and he will never contact her. But, and of course, like when the lady is writing your profile, so we have this, like sometimes I send to the guy, so the lady, we have her profile, but then the guy is asking more questions about her. And some of our partners, they create, like we have a file where the lady is writing, like it can be handwriting about her. So the translator, like, or the manager who put your profile, they just like take the essential, you know, like height, weight, like this. But there is more information about her views. And sometimes I copy that and send it in Russian, like to the guy, so he can translate and see, yes, maybe it will be like a little bit not correct translation. That's what I want, but it's essential what she wrote. And so when you have a matchmaker, you always have a person to ask and say, okay, so does it mean that she's looking for sugar daddy, or she's looking for like just like explain that to me? And that is what I do, because stryker just was making fun of me. I was recording a voice message for one of our partners, and I said to her that, you know, one of our guys, like that I send the information, he's like very kind, like he's soft, he's not that like man abuser, like who is like, and I said muzhik, and stryker, like muzhik, it's actually like a man, like mushina, but muzhik, it's, and you said what? It's like
I said that translates into English into CUNT.
C-U-N-T.
Yeah,
C,
A-C-U-N-T,
C-U-N-T. Yes, and it is like, because, and I'm not saying that some of our clients are, but somebody is like more masculine, somebody is like softer, and somebody need like the girl who is like leader, somebody need the girl who is more quiet and more like submissive, I would say, talking about rubbers, change the color, but I'm joking. But anyway, so that is what we do, basically, like serious, this topic is important. When you have a matchmaker, you always have person to ask, and I do my best to find out, like, if I know that this kind of, like, you're not living in a big city, like you're not living in New York one or LA, if you don't date, like you don't want to date girls who is like having, like, I don't know, fake lips or something, we are there for you to fix that. And the profile is just, it's just like a very, very, like, the guys put, I would say, 50% or even 70% of importance of the profile, when in reality it should be like 20. It should be just like, I like or I don't like, and then move forward, ask questions about her, find out more information, and then talk to her. This is how it should be. So basically the video is about generous. Are you generous? It's only your decision, but I want you to understand that some words really translating different, and it's hard to find word for, like, with exact meaning.
Yeah, like even with the guys' profiles, like we rewrite many of them, don't we? We look at it and we go, okay, let's rewrite it so that it makes more sense. So I will rewrite the profile based on what they've said, and then I'll give that to Luba, and then she will translate it if she has to translate it, and that's how we do it. So we can sort of bridge that gap there with
for the guys.
For the guys, yeah. But quite often the guys, they'll write stuff that's very, very generic. I want a kind lady, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. And we think, okay, well, we sort of word that a bit differently. So it's not so generic, but it brings some personality through of how they live their life. So we have the luxury of doing that. But if we sent their ones directly to the women who are going to read it, who are Ukrainian, they will probably misinterpret it as well and say, oh, he wants a woman that's, thin. Well, like, what happens if I put on a few pounds? Like, he's going to leave me?
That's why the best way is to use a person who can represent you. And as strikers say, I didn't like it at the beginning, but now I do like it. It's like we are selling you as a good product. So we need to have a good description of you, and then we will be able to present you as best as we can and give you full information about ladies when you request it.
Okay. See ya.